Stephen's a big Leeds United fan. Danny Mills is with us this morning. One of your own, Stephen. Good morning to you, mate. What's your take on this? Calvin Phillips, 42 to 45 million. Has he been undersold, Stephen?
I've got to be honest, I don't think he has been undersold. I'll apologise if I repeat anything that you lads have said, but I think over 100 million for the two of them together. We talk about following this Leicester City model, and I think Leeds are doing the right thing. I know, obviously, I love Phillips, and I wouldn't want him to go. You can't blame Phillips for going for 200 grand a week or whatever he's going to get paid, and he's going to win Premier League titles. He's probably going to win a Champions League eventually. But with Leeds, we've got to reinvest and bolster that squad. Bielsa ran with such a thin squad. He used the academy lads. We've got to get some more quality back in that squad. Marsh is probably going to play a different system. I think he might use wing-backs, judging by the tail end of last season, but we don't really know. So will Phillips actually fit into what Marsh wanted to do? I don't know. But Bielsa made him into that player.
Let's ask Danny. You're taking that down. Some good points, actually, from Stephen.
I agree with most of that. I just think if you are going to reinvest, then hold out for another £10 million. You know, that's not... Asking for 50 plus is not being ridiculous at that point. The deal was done... Seemed to be done very, very quickly. There was no talk about it. There was no rumours. And to be fair, Man City often do their business like that. But it was almost out of the blue, excuse the pun, with Man City, done and dusted. I just think if they'd have held out, that could have been another, say, £8 million. That's another player that you could bring in off the back of that.
I don't disagree. I think with Leeds, though, I don't understand how these things go on behind closed doors, but Man City are probably offering that money up front. I think Leeds don't want to do business with Barcelona because Barcelona are going to offer payments over probably 16 years or something. Leeds want that money up front for Rafinha, and Chelsea are offering that money or a lump sum up front.
But what about Leeds now signing the teenager from Man City for £5 million? That seems a strange deal when he's been nowhere near the first team squad.
No, but Leeds like investing in their under-23s, Danny. We've got a notoriously good academy. And
I'd disagree with that, if I'm honest. All your good academy players, apart from Charlie Cresswell, have been brought in.
No, if you go back, Danny, in when was it? We brought Sam Byram, Lewis Cook. We brought through Alex Mowat.
But how long ago was that? When was the last kids that came through from the under-14s, 15s came through? Apart from Charlie Cresswell, I know because my son was there. So
fair enough. But Leeds have got a notoriously good under-23s and good nurturing.
Yeah, because they've brought all those players in, and that's what they're doing again. They brought in Gelhardt. You know, they brought in. They're going to bring in another one.
And then you bleed them into the first team, like they've done.
That doesn't mean you've got a good academy. That means you're just buying young players.
Stephen, the short and the tall of it is you want Leeds United to reinvest, of course, that money in the squad, and you want Jesse Marsch to be the beneficiary of it. I think Leeds United fans will be looking at Rafinha, Simon, thinking, is he now bound to end up at Barcelona? Because you probably know that Barcelona's financial position improved yesterday. They agreed a deal to sell 10% of the La Liga TV rights.
I mean, the argument is you pay on
and
the
that
drip.
nets them 178 mil.
You can pay things on the drip. You can also discount and bring them forward, and someone can pay the cost of a discounting. You also have to remember when you talk about Calvin Phillips, N'Golo Kante went from Leicester, who were the Premier League champions, to Chelsea for 32 million quid. You know, let's get some context of what players are worth against what their achievements are.
Danny Drinkwater went for 40 odd.
Sure. So you can up and down deals. You can look at what Fabinho went for, 45 million quid. You can look at deals around the place and say, what's a good deal? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
If Leeds United think this was a good enough deal for a variety of reasons, we can all hold out for the if and or but. And maybe £52 million might have been on the table. Maybe commercially adroit businessmen looked at the deal and said, this is the deal. And we can sit here and we can pontificate whether they could have got another 10 million quid out of Manchester City. But Man City tend to be, irrespective of my parodying of how much they spend in each position, they tend to set a price and they tend to go, that's the price. And you either sell it to us, that player at that price, or we walk away. And so there is a dynamic there.
And good business.
And of course,
goodness.
I actually think...
Haaland and Phillips.
I actually think... the business for Haaland was not done by them. It was done by the agent being able to put a clause in there. Man City took advantage of a historic relationship with the father and a £51 million release clause, right? And the fact that they're Premier League champions.
Still good business, though.
Well, it's business that was done on the basis of a release clause.
Sure.
Right? So they didn't negotiate a price. But in the great scheme of things, Leeds have got from a fourth and bottom team in the Premier League, have taken £102 million out of transfers. I actually don't think potentially it's bad business. And if they'd sell to Barcelona and they bring forward the money and get the 60 million brought forward because they discount it, then they've got plenty of cash to go around and build a proper squad capable of competing where they didn't last year.
I've said many times, they do have a lot of very good young players. A lot of those have been brought in, into the academy and into the under-23s. Although that didn't work great last year, the under-23s got relegated from Premier League 2. They've got a lot of good senior players approaching 30 and 30 plus that have been fantastic, especially under Marcelo Bielsa. They didn't have an awful lot in the middle. They didn't have a lot of mid-20-year-olds with experience of the Premier League. They're now starting to bring some of those players in, not necessarily with Premier League experience, but they're bolstering that middle part of the squad, and that's what they needed to do.
Danny, before we hit the break, let's squeeze another Leeds United fan in. Let's do it. We've got time, or we'll make time. Robert, you've been waiting. Good morning to you, Robert. What do you think? Phillips, 42
Good morning, guys.
million?
Good morning.
Good morning, mate. Is that about right?
No, I agree. Yeah, I'm fantastic, mate. Yeah. No, I agree with Danny. I do feel we should have got a little bit more out of him. I reckon about 55 would have been a good price for Phillips. Rafinha, I agree with Simon the other day. If they were asking for 60, we should have gone 70. If they were asking for 70, we should have gone 80.
But Rafinha wants to go. That's the big difference.
Yeah, that's the thing. But
he really wants to go.
I always knew he was going to leave anyway because from his persona on the pitch when I've been watching the Leeds games, it's like he's looking round to think, I need better players around me. So it was always going to be a case of him leaving anyway, which I'm not too disappointed. But regarding the Calvin Phillips, he's from my area. I know him. I know all his family. And I'm over at Mum for him, to be honest. From where he's come from Wortley Boys up to Leeds. And I think if it had been me, as I'm a big Leeds fan, and if I played for my own club team and I got on back to Premier League, I think I've done quite a bit there for Leeds United, to be fair. So I'm over at Mum for him, and I think Pep will make him into a miles better player like Bielsa did, to be fair. So I think if he gets his chance, I think there's no doubt about it. He'll play in that team all the time.
Okay.
I don't think, Jim, any Leeds fan will begrudge Calvin Phillips going. I think they'll just. I just look at the fee and go, it's just on the lean side a little bit. Probably, if you'd have held out a little bit more, probably could have squeezed a little bit more out of that.
Sure, but Simon says if you're getting 42 now or 52 in instalments, what are you going to do? Well, Simon, you would have taken the 42.
Pay the whoever you're going to buy in instalments.
I think it's very easy to make an observation unless you're in the room. If you're in the room and you're very adept at doing business deals, whether £42 million is a big business deal for you or not, you'll know when you can blink and when you can't.
Okay, what we do know is Calvin Phillips is there and the medical's ongoing and he will join. So he's out of Leeds United, but what do Leeds do now? Will Rafinha follow? We shall see. Friday morning, Jim White, Danny Mills, Simon Jordan, we're live, talkSPORT.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.